Hello there, this is Devin Vodicka. We'll be getting started in just one moment. Hopefully everybody can hear and see the screen. Um, excuse me one second. Okay, so we're going to dive right into it. This is a session called Setting a Vision for Transformation, and I'm Devin Vodicka. I'm the superintendent of Vista Unified School District. I have to confess that I'm presenting right now from a hotel in San Francisco, and so there may be some ambient noise. Hopefully it won't be too distracting, but I'm happy to be here to share with you. Today, Vista Unified School District is about 30 miles north of San Diego, and it's my privilege to be able to share a bit of our journey about creating a framework to create the conditions for student success. And so I want to start with the why. Why do we do what we do? And it's important that all of our work is grounded in this important reminder that everything that we do is about our kids and about our future and about their hopes and their dreams. That's our motivation. And every time that we're not sure about what to do, we come back to our kids and we think about what their needs are and how we can move from there. And so I'm in now my 5th year as superintendent, and it was an interesting beginning in that when I came in, I asked some questions about, who we were trying to be as an organization to try to meet the needs of our students. And I quickly found that we didn't have a clear vision. We didn't have a clear idea about where we were going, about why we existed. Our values were not clearly identified. And so I worked with a team of our leaders, and we set in motion a process to begin getting some feedback from our community, answering those critical questions about where we wanted to be and what was our core purpose and how we needed to behave. And so we did a series of town hall meetings, we did online meetings, we did a whole host of different things to get input from our community. And we tried to make it as interactive and as collaborative as possible. And so to that end, we used procedures like the World Cafe, try to capture input in as many different forms as we could imagine. And then we had teams of our leaders come together and try to synthesize the feedback and the input, identify patterns and themes, and then we would create kind of a summary. We would feed it back to the community and then use feedback from the community to get to the next steps. And what that led to was a framework for the future that included our vision, our mission, and our values initially. The vision statement that emerged was that we want our school district, Vista Unified, to be the model of educational excellence and innovation. And there are a lot of really important parts of that phrase. One is it doesn't say we want to be a model, it says we want to be the model, which compels us to do some new and different things. And obviously striving to be excellent is a good thing, and we want to exceed expectations and perform at high levels. But the part that differentiates us from a lot of public school districts is this drive to be the model of innovation as well. And that has really set us on an interesting journey. And along the way, we want to keep in mind our mission, which is to inspire every student to persevere as a critical thinker who collaborates to solve real-world problems. And that focus on real-world problem solving as well as collaboration and critical thinking has been an important guide along the way. We also established 3 values: respect, trust, and collaboration. And these are important also parts of our North Star that guide us in uncertain times. And when we face ambiguous circumstances, we go back to our values, we go to our mission, we go to our vision, and that helps to set the stage for what's next. Having that framework in place, we also needed goals, measurable goals. And so this has evolved over a period of time, but it's important to know how you're making progress relative to that vision. It's important to know if you're living out your mission. It's important to know how you're doing in terms of actualizing your values. And so if you look at these goals, there are a lot of fairly standard metrics, math and language arts and graduation rates that you would see, I think, in many districts. But there are also ones that tie directly to our mission, like service learning or civic engagement. There are ones that tie to our values, doing surveys to collect feedback from students and parents and staff. And so it's important that the goals are aligned with that framework for where you want to be in the future. And after we had the vision, the mission, the values, and the goals in place, which, by the way, those components, it took about 6 months to do the mission, the vision, and the values, which we did all kind of in a bundle. And then it took about another 6 months to go through goal setting, again, using a collaborative process. And then we moved into roles and responsibilities. Who's going to do this work? And a few things that I'll point out that are were changes for us. One is that we changed the name of our instructional services team to be the Department of Educational Excellence. That reflects obviously our vision. We also changed the name of what used to be the Human Resources Department to Human Relations to focus on those values of respect, trust, and collaboration. And then we added a new department, Information and Innovation, that is focused on this transformational change and the use of data to guide us on the journey. The other thing you'll notice is that if you look at the organization of the principals, we put them into teams so that they were not so isolated, and we wanted to really promote that district value of collaboration. So this is probably an incremental step. The particular organization we have now, I see us moving to more of a networked model in the future, but this was a really important first step in reorganizing ourselves to achieve our dreams for the future. But it's not enough to just say you want to be the model of educational excellence and innovation, or to identify a mission or vision, or mission, vision, values, goals. You also need a plan. And so we created what we call our blueprint, which guides us moving forward. By the way, we did this before the state of California established the local control accountability plan, which we then folded into this after a while. And we used a very similar process to develop our plan that we had found success with in terms of creating those other elements of the framework for the future. So we went out to our community, and in particular, we went to our students and we said, what can we do if we want to be the model of excellence and innovation? What do we need to do to get there? And so we hosted, in the first year, I think it was close to 70 different forums with parents and community members, staff members, and very importantly, students. And we just asked them these open-ended questions, and we got incredible feedback from each of these groups that really led us to crystallize our priorities around 8 key strategies moving forward. And initially, by the way, we had this extensive text-based plan that we rolled out, and we found very few people read it. So we decided it would be more effective to visualize it in kind of an infographic form. So playing on that metaphor of the blueprint, we said we're trying to construct a house. We'll call it the House of Learning, and we'll have 8. We'll visualize our strategies through this image, and we have found this to be a very successful way to convey our plan. And if you look at the plan, you will notice that at the foundation of our house is partnerships with family and community, reflecting again that value of collaboration. We have a strong focus on improving our facilities and using 21st century resources. Digital infusion is part of that. We also heard from our students loud and clear that social connectedness and emotional safety were really important. And so we have a strategy in that area. Core curriculum, of course, is important. High quality staffing is important. Using monitoring and feedback is also critical. And then at the top of the house, we have the one that draws the most attention, are focused on personal learning with pathways and environments. And that really led us to create our own definition of personal learning. And it took us about a year to, again, use the same kind of collaborative, engaging process to define personal learning for us in Vista Unified School District. And there are 5 main components to our approach. At the base, you see the student profile, and this is important in the sense that we're looking at this holistically, and we're also focusing on student strengths. So we've done a lot with tools like the Strengths Finder. We've done a lot with tools like Thrively, all trying to move away from a deficit or a scarcity view of what students can do and think about what energizes them and what their talents are, and then build on those. Having the strong technology infrastructure is also critical. If you really want to personalize learning for thousands of students, you need to have good tools to make that happen. And at the teacher level, even if you're at the primary grades where you have maybe 22, 24 students, you still need great tools to shorten the feedback cycles and really keep track of what the students' needs are. Next, we have the element of path, which is where the students are exercising their choice. You notice that again is focused on student strengths. And we've used a lot of things like playlists and having teachers and students work together on that element of choice. There's a developmental component to that, where obviously your younger learners may need a little more guidance from the adults than your older students. The next part of our model is flexible learning environments. If we're going to have individuals experiencing personal learning, we can't use the same traditional teacher-oriented rows of desks. We need to be thinking about that differently, connecting the learning to real-world experiences as we do so. And then finally, the whole notion of competency-based education, students setting their own goals, moving upon mastery, and again, tied to our mission. Really important that these are tied to real-world demonstrations of learning, not just digital worksheets. So a lot of people, when we share what we're doing with personal learning, they say, that sounds great, that's wonderful, we're impressed that you're trying that, but does it work? And so we, as I mentioned, we track a lot of different metrics. And without going through these in great detail, what you can see is students working kind of from the bottom to the top. Students attend school more often. They misbehave less frequently because they're more engaged. They're opting into higher levels of challenge with advanced placement and international baccalaureate courses. Their college and career readiness rate, in California we call that the A through G completion, is moving up, and students are graduating at higher rates. So the short version of does it work is yes, it's working. Students are more engaged in what they're doing, and they're experiencing greater success. We obviously still have a lot of room to grow, but we're very encouraged by the early indicators that this is a path to helping students to achieve those goals. And I mentioned we do surveys looking at our values of trust, respect, collaboration. We partner with the University of California, San Diego, and they do a research-based survey. They survey students, parents, staff members, and school administrators as well. And the way you read this chart is kind of working from the lightest bar to the darkest, lightest being our first round of surveys, and the darker being the most recent data that we have. And what you see on here is that parents trust their teachers more, they trust their principals more, they have higher perceptions about the quality of the educational program and about the school environment in general. And if you're a data person like me, the changes meet lots of different tests of statistical significance. So in addition to seeing progress on kind of traditional metrics, parents are seeing that their kids are more energized by learning, and they're feeling much more positively about the school experience, and that's useful feedback for us to have. So we've drawn a lot of attention, as I said, for personal learning and for digital infusion. We've been featured nationally several different times, and that's fantastic. It's great to have that kind of a reputation. We have a wonderful team in our IT department and in our educational excellence department, helping to move this work forward. And I want to say that the digital components of this are critical, but not sufficient. You know, you also need these other elements to help you maximize the amazing tools that we have available to us today. And one resource I would encourage you to look at is the new Google Education Transformation Center. There are some stories about Vista Unified. There are stories about other school districts that have found some successful approaches. It's well organized, and so I would really encourage you to check out the incredible resources that Google has been able to pull together in their new Transformation Center. Some other exciting news to share. You may have heard about the XQ Super School Challenge. This was a contest, and thousands of schools applied. Vista High School, one of our 3 high schools within our district, was one of the schools selected to receive $10 million to reimagine and redesign the American high school. Something that's interesting about that is that 8 of the schools that were funded through this out of the 10 are charter schools that are yet to be built, yet to come into existence. And there's some really incredible ideas about the potential for those schools. Vista High School and Furr High School in Houston were the 2 existing high schools that were selected for this pretty incredible award. And we're delighted to work through the process of really taking personal learning to scale and connecting our students with even more real-world problems and real-world challenges. It's been fantastic. And all of it kind of goes back again to why. Why do we do this? What's our driving force? What's our motivation? You know, what compelled us to put together what we hope is a relatively coherent system that aligns our efforts to help us achieve our vision to be the model of educational excellence and innovation. And it all comes back again to our kids and that incredible privilege and that incredible opportunity that we have to help their dreams come true. And I believe that there's incredible potential in working together. And I think some of the signs of our progress are indicators of what can be done, not just in Vista, but in any community. And I know our students are capable. It's really up to us as adults to create those conditions to help them to thrive. And so I always end my presentations to staff with this question about what's possible. I love how Margaret Wheatley says that leaders should always be asking 2 questions, the first being who cares, and the second is what's possible. And what I've found is that by asking those 2 questions, really bringing people together who do care deeply about kids and learning and education and the future of our society and the future of humanity, and then asking them about what could be possible, incredible things can happen. And it's been a privilege to be a part of that journey in Vista. There are thousands of students and parents and staff members and community members and community partners that have all been a part of the journey. And so I thank each of them for being part of this collective experience. And I really look forward to the next steps. And so at this point, I think I will say thank you. My Twitter handle, which is @dvodicka, is posted here. My email address is also there, as well as the Vista Unified School District website. And I think at this point, I'm actually going to take some questions. Um, and so here's my hotel room, by the way. And I really appreciate, again, everybody who's participated in this Google Hangout. I believe that you can answer questions in the chat link, and there may be another way to do it as well. Let me pull up my email just to make sure I've got the right instructions. So I'm just checking the chat window. I don't see any questions at the moment. All right. Well, I think at this point, I understand there's a question and answer platform, and so I'm going to shift over to that momentarily. Again, it's been a privilege to have you join in on this chat and on this experience. I wish you the best of luck on your journeys moving forward. Thanks so much.